Good evening, America. This is your son speaking, Jonathan Schmitz. I'm coming from an island in the sun, somewhere in the Pacific, off the east coast of Australia. I would like for you to partake in a scenario by scenario discussion of the future. Part 2 is over. From 1950 to 2020, that is all Part 2 consisted of. We are entering a new era, a new epoch, and a Great Depression. It's come to my awareness that the next 10, 15 years we will see a rise of police authoritarian states. And a catalyst that will result in the crushing of our civil liberties and our rights. This catalyst will be homegrown in origin and will result in a coalition forming a one-world government in order to take away the rights from you. Yes. This one world government is the New World Order. The New World Order that dictates how centralized government is run, socially, economically, even spiritually. The catalyst is the inevitable detonation of a suitcase nuclear bomb on the East Coast in New Jack City. Once that happens, a series of events will cause a domino effect as each country wishes to partake in this authoritarian centralized government to take the rights away from its citizens and to enforce the workforce to partake in slavery conditions. So if you're not up to the challenge, if this is not your cup of tea or your kettle of fish, you should turn around right now and go back to where you came from, because a lot of people are going to die. Almost 2/3 of the world's population through World War III. The Seven Nation Army, from epidemics to pestilence to quake shifting, natural disasters. This is our future, the socialist apocalypse that we are now facing. And there is one place that I know of that will continue to function. They will have semi-normal operations during this global social order breakdown, and that is Denver. Something is going on at DIA, the Denver International Airport. It is basically an airport that's been made to look like the swastika, a symbol of Nazi Germany. And it also has a massive amount of fuel reserves there. So this airport is in Denver. It's just a few hours away from the western divide of the Rocky Mountains, and many people will be flying in there from around the world to bunker in their houses that have to hide in the mountains, and that is a term that I use that's been mentioned in Revelations, to hide in the mountains, and to survive this apocalyptic period. Many rich and famous people can afford their own Learjet, they can afford their own survivalist bunker, and no doubt they'll be going to reside in these mountains to hide away until it's all over and everyone dies. And this post-World War III apocalyptic ending scenario can begin again with new rules, new laws, and a one-world government. So this catalyst that's going to happen on the East Coast could happen in the next 10 years. So could the end of the Mayan calendar. From what I'm aware of, I've read that there is another Mayan calendar that talks about the ending in year 2036. So where time could end in that year if the Mayans were correct. And this has been backed up by Greg Braden and other authors from documentary series such as Gaia. So yeah, we want a one world government. We want our rights to be recognized. We want to take care of the world and nurture it and be stewards of the environment. But we want a resource-based economy, such as described in the Venus Project. And for this one world government to come to pass, we have to do it correctly, the right way, is to make human rights integral to our mission, and to give back to humanity on a world scale, on a global scale, to try and enforce those rights around the world, so nothing um, could go wrong. That could be a disaster, like what happened in Rwanda, like what happened to the Armenians, like what happened in the Balkans. Human rights is integral, and something I noticed during the Clinton and Bush years, that they were, in their foreign policy, they would try to get these third world African countries to be signatories of the the Declaration of Human Rights, so that these sanctuaries where humans can go and be respected, and not worry about authoritarian rule, not worry that the police are going to come and eat their babies. I mean, so part 2 is ended, and part 3 will begin in about 10 years. And people are planning to skip this part. It's going to be tough, it's going to be arduous, it's going to be debilitating. And it's going to be 1984 all over again. And I think Naomi Klein in the Shock Doctrine talks about and the Chicago Boys setting up shop in South America with some of these economies and shocking the awe out of them economically, in order to get authoritarians like Pinochet to do terrible things. And that's because of the CIA. But Muse, Van Muse, in the album The Resistance, they talk about aliens being revealed to ourselves as leaders of countries, politicians. I think it's something invented, being manipulated. It's a construct that's been manifest, and it's something that I don't really think is going to play a big role. But it talks in that album. It mentions Nazi scientists, the ones that have come to America to work on the Manhattan Project. They're also talking about MK Ultra, and I would like to know personally that Henry Kissinger was one of these Germans that immigrated to America and was probably one of the first to arrive on the scene to go into the spotlight of the American corridor, history's annals, the annals of history, and play a big part on the world stage. He is part of the framework of our future now. These Germans in America, who have sided with us, are now working for them. Rikers, Germans, siding with us, now working for them. And you can see it today. You can see what's going on with the CIA, the military, the police state, the white supremacists. You can see that this is their doing. They're trying to pit a battle between the Democrat, the blue side, and the Republicans, the red side, and make it about colors. Whatever division you can find or difference you can make with your enemy, they will make distinctly that they will identify with that distinction, and then it'll make you in some way hate that person for being different to you. But everyone's different. And in this country, everyone's the same. So come together, America. Start talking about the one world government. Let's do it on our terms, not because of some catalyst and some staged event by the New World Order to take away our liberties and be engrossed in some conflict, war that will wage decades. That will be waged for decades. It will go on for years, this war. So please, think about our future. Think about the division in America right now and how tense it is with people fighting against Americans, going against Americans, and not realizing who's pulling the strings. We have to stop this and realize that we need each other to defeat the New World Order so we can create our own government, our own world parliament on our terms. Okay? Don't do this. You just weaken our power. Okay? There's a lot of Republicans that could die in this. And the Republicans in name only, we know who they are. That they put their names on. They put their names on. It's on Michael Moore's Facebook account. He wrote down the names of every congressman who wished for the votes of the American people in the Electoral College that went on the election, the general election, to be thrown out. And for him to be redeclared president, which is a very strange realization that there is something wrong with the Constitution if the party in power can dissolve a legitimate election to regain power. Is that true? Because I would like to know that or not. Obviously, our founding fathers created a backdoor entry for this type of shit to happen. So, wake up, realize what's going on now in America, and just call for peace, call for sanity, and call for unity in solidarity with American people. America standing for Americans. That's what we should be about, regardless of what our differences are. Okay? Thank you.